How a landscape is designed has a direct effect on water use. This video demonstrates a design process for water conservation. The site is a private residence, and the landscape is an upgrade of an existing landscape at a 35-year-old house. This is a small landscape job, but what we do at this site and what we learn here apply equally to most landscape developments, either large or small. We're taking a look at our front lawn, and although I like the layout, it's not working. We've got two hydrozones here. Hydrozones are areas each with a different water need. On the one side, we have an area that's very, very dry. You can see the grass is really not surviving. On the other side, we have an area that's not quite so dry. Grass would grow there, although it's very, very shady. We irrigated our front yard years ago, and we put in a good system, and we have heads that come from 4 directions and give head-to-head coverage, which is a good thing. What we missed, though, was that there's several different hydrozones in this area, and we're watering them all with one valve, one circuit. We can't water the sunny areas separately from the shady areas. We can't reduce the amount of water going to the native vegetation that doesn't need it, or to this gravel area that needs no water at all. So we've got an irrigation system where the irrigation design doesn't match the landscape design, and we need to fix that. We've got a couple of materials in the yard now that we need to work with. One is the pervious paving on the driveway, and the other is this crushed gravel that actually works really well for the pathway that you see behind me. And it's actually coarse enough that we can blow the leaves off of it with a leaf blower. So we want to work with these two materials, but we also don't want to pave the whole front yard like the driveway. We need to add a third material and some planting in a way where it all works together. I've done some scribbles on a plan to test out different ideas. I'm going to keep all the trees in the front yard. They don't need any water. What I've landed on to get rid of the grass is the idea of expanding this stone mulch area so that it's wide enough for some tables. We have a party once a year and we need space for them. I've always wanted a better focal point in my front yard. Sometimes we do wedding photos out there for our studio. Sometimes we like to sit under the trees. I call the pattern a stone burst. Our contractor is moved in now, and we have the stone burst under construction. You can start to see the wider stone mulch areas. The rest of the front yard is having good growing medium brought in. There'll be enough brought in for a 300 millimeter a foot depth of growing medium to support the plants that we want to install. I'll use low water plantings for this new planting bed. Either planted native plants or xeriscape species. One of the best things we did in our yard was keeping this area of native vegetation. It's salal, an Oregon grape. There's some native raspberries that we pulled out, but this is a beautiful evergreen ground cover, and it needs almost no water at all. I wish we had more of it here, but it certainly has done well in this semi-shaded area of our yard, and we'll keep it. One of the toughest locations in any yard is dry shade, areas underneath trees that have a lot of competition for soil from roots and almost no water landing, at least in the dry season. This is a plant called barrenwort. Its Latin name or botanical name is Erigeon. It's a really good plant. You can see it doing really well here in a place that it gets almost no water in the summertime. It's very shady, and yet this is a nice ground cover. It's evergreen. It's the right plant in the right place. I'm going to water this landscape area with an efficient inline drip irrigation system. It's going to be on a separate zone on the irrigation timer. It will apply water really quite slowly, so it will run for a long time, but it won't waste any water at all. hey, wait a minute, we're doing this for water conservation. Let's use the water conservation savings calculator to see how much water we'll save by getting rid of this front lawn. Using the calculator, I put in the total landscape area that I'm redoing. I've left the stoneburst area out of this landscape area because the stoneburst is impervious. But I've left in all the rest of the front site because it meets the test of absorbing water. Then I insert my square meters of unwatered mulch. That's one hydrozone type that has no watering. And then I insert my square meters of planting bed. That's another hydrozone type that's going to have a low water need. For that planting bed, I've chosen the irrigation category with the high efficiency drip system as opposed to sprays. Scrolling down in the calculator, I can see what water savings it's given me. Wow, just by getting rid of the lawn in the front yard, I'm saving 110 cubic meters a year of water. That's equivalent to almost 2 swimming pools. I've also got the water rates from my local town in here, and at current rates, this change will save almost $500 in water charges a year. You know, that's pretty amazing. If it's that good just by taking out this little landscape area in the front yard and doing it differently, I can't resist calculating how well the rest of my yard is doing.